because I am a pretentious dork. Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. I am very fancy today because I had a work thing right before I filmed this video. So you'll have to excuse my formality. Also excuse these stacks of books all over the place. I am trying to reorganize my classic sci-fis so I can maybe do a library tour of all the classic sci-fis I own. We will see, because that will take quite a while to film. Anyway, I am talking today about the last book in my Indie April Readathon, which I listened to on audiobook, and it is In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno, a sci-fi from 2021. And he is another fellow SPSFC semi-finalist, and I can see why. This book is awesome, guys. It's really, really good. So In the Orbit of Sirens is a sprawling epic of humanity's doom and resurgence. It's a rousing tale of people coming together to survive. The best kind of stories. So what is it about? The last fragments of the human race are forced to adapt to a dangerous new world or face extinction. When Starship mechanic Denton Castus is caught in the destructive path of a devastating war, he abandons his home and seeks refuge on a distant planet. However, this new safe haven has undiscovered threats of its own. Eliana Veston, a scout preparing the planet for refugees, struggles with a deadly pandemic that is killing off colonists. The hunt for a cure unleashes a new threat to humanity, the Sirens, mysterious beings with incredible powers and a deep hatred for invaders. So this book is a wonderful blend of classic sci-fi and modern sci-fi, as we have a diverse cast of characters, a venture into the unknown, like tons of battle scenes, and a highly detailed and methodically crafted planet and alien species. The book features a few of my favorite tropes: first contact, cultivating new planets, and abandoned ruins. And there's also like a dash of horror in the book that I really like when, is included in sci-fi, so I really like that aspect too. It's a long book, I will say. It's about 500 pages, and it's quite a long audiobook, but it's entrancing. It's definitely a plot-based story over character-driven, though that's not to say the characters weren't well-defined and likable. And what a plot. There is so much going on in this novel, but it's very easy to follow and understand. The trajectory and the characters' choices make sense, and it builds to a final battle that brought it all together. The concept is simple, but executed in a way that really makes you feel like Chimeria is a real place. There are really fun technological details, but there also isn't an overabundance of tech descriptions, at least for me, because I'm not super fond of tech descriptions. There's a lot of discovery regarding the new planet, but it still feels like there's a whole lot more to see, and there's this pervasive threat of both the original antagonists and a new one. I like the little references to the Odyssey here and there. There's an AI named Homer, the Sirens, of course, the ship, the Telemachus. While the story isn't based on the Odyssey, the idea of a ship stranded far from home does fit well with that story. So I really like these little kind of allusions to Homer, because I am a pretentious dork. It's a really fun book. There's lots of little side tangents and stuff that I found fun. There is a whole Denton learning to be a scout kind of plot that, it could have been cut, but I really liked that process. I thought that was really fun. And the scenes with Roland, one of the characters, were fantastic. There's a lot to really enjoy about this book. One thing I will say in critique, though, is that there's a lot of passive writing. Now, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I'm an editor, so I'm not just speaking out of my ass here, though. Really, it's kind of all I ever do. And while I try to turn off my editor brain when reading, this was pervasive enough that I couldn't ignore it. There was a lot of he watched, he heard, she noticed, she felt in this novel. While the passive voice has a purpose in writing, this happened a lot during action scenes. As such, it made them less exciting than they could have been. Passive voice, for those who aren't editors, is what people mean when they say show and not tell. Rather than saying, for example, she felt the roller coaster start moving. A more active way to say that would be her stomach lurched as the roller coaster's wheels began to move. Both say the same thing, they show the same image, but the latter is more evocative because we can really grasp what she's feeling versus being told how she feels. It's a more immersive experience. But that's not to say I thought it was poorly written at all. It's not like this was every single line. It just happened a bit more than I kind of like. But this could be a stylistic choice on the author's part, and that's fine too. Not everyone has to like ways that certain books are styled. For example, as you know, I'm not super fond of first person. This book is not first person. I'm still giving the book 5 stars on Goodreads despite this little critique, and I really, really enjoyed it. I won't get the sequels this year, I don't think, but I do plan on doing them at some point, because honestly, this book is really good. And you check out one indie sci-fi book this year, because as you know, my fantasy suggestion is The Jealousy of Jalis. I suggest taking a chance on this one, In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno. I mean, you could read my book, Escaping First Contact, but my book is weird. So if you want something a bit more normal, less alien reproduction systems and odd fighting, and more like a standard story, then I highly recommend this book. And even if you do want something weird, this book has really cool aliens in it that I like. They're not sexy aliens, but that's okay. Not aliens can be sexy. Unless you think like Bird Person from Rick and Morty is sexy, then you might like this. I've said too much and I am done. Bye!